chances are that if you've been using Notion for a while, you've seen how easy it is for your projects to grow in both size and complexity. This leads to several known challenges. The first is that the number of tables rapidly grows. The relationship between those tables continues to expand. You end up using roll-ups and formula as an essential way of organizing your data and making sure that everything makes sense. And there's no way to easily document what you've built so that you can hand it off or come back to it after a protracted period of time and still remember what your thinking was when you built it. Well, until now. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a data dictionary for Notion. I'll cover how you can get access to the missing meta information on your tables and properties, how to automate gathering that information so that you can keep it organized, how to keep your notes about your project current, and how to do everything from inside of Notion with the help of Make.com. In this example, I'm going to reference the Clockify time tracking system. I have a separate process that automatically pulls data from Clockify into Notion where I can work with it. I get access to all of the time tracking, the projects, the clients, users, and tags that Clockify records. With that as background, let's look at how we can build a data dictionary of all of our information about Clockify that we store in Notion. The first thing that we need to do is tell the data dictionary the names of the Clockify databases that we're interested in. We want the users, the time entries, the clients, and the tags. And we need the Clockify projects too. Clicking this link will fire a webhook that kicks off a process in Make.com. I'll go over the technical details of the Make scenario near the end of the video, but for now I want to stay at the high level where we can focus on the results. So as that process is working, we see that we're building up the number of properties in each of our tables. It's documenting it live as we go. And down below we see the properties for each of our databases. So if I want to start documenting this process, I can say what this table is for. I can also open up any one of those tables and make documentation about the individual properties. So there's a couple mistakes in here. This should be hourly rate, not hourly rate. And I deliberately have a bogus property in the table at the moment. So I'm going to make a note that we need to delete that property in the database and then see how it shows up over here. So now I'm going to the underlying table. I'll fix my typo. And I'll delete the bogus property. I'm also going to add another one. Just so that when we rescan, we see that everything is reflected appropriately. So from here, I'll kick off the webhook again. And here we see that the data dictionary has been updated automatically. We changed the property hourly rate by fixing the typo, and it still keeps my note associated with that. We have the brand new property that was added, and the property that we deleted over in Notion shows up under the deleted properties view. The data dictionary will never actually delete data. It will only make changes to data that it recognizes has been updated within the data dictionary. It does not make any changes to your underlying database. So right now, we're looking at the databases that we defined for the Clockify project, but we can have more than one grouping of our databases to organize them how we want. For example, I can turn on the data dictionary databases, and now I see all of the databases that are associated with that documentation project. And you can enable more than one to show the union. So let's change the documentation groups to look at the databases from both the data dictionary and from the Clockify to Notion project. Down below, we see that we have the union of databases from both of those projects. We can also say, just show me the databases where the documentation is complete, the databases where documentation is incomplete, and it'll show us what percentage of each of those tables has been documented so far. We can see all databases where we think there's at least one property that has been deleted, and then we see from the Clockify time entries that we were just working with, or you can see the list of all databases that you have ever submitted to the data dictionary for documentation. So now let's look under the hood and see what takes place inside of the make.com scenario to get all of the information we need and manage it appropriately. The process kicks off whenever it receives a call to the webhook. We split. First we do all of the work, and then we come back at the very end after we're done and we provide the webhook response. So what is it that we're actually doing? First, we're going to look at all of the tables that you have defined in the data dictionary. We're doing a search of all of those tables, filtering on the ones where the enabled formula is true, which we can see in our documentation is a formula based on a roll-up, based on whether the documentation group has this table enabled or not, which is why we have the documentation. So in order to work with databases inside of Make, we need the database ID. Recall, however, that all we entered was a mention to the database that we were interested in. So the first thing we do with that database is we check to see have we already found and stored the database ID. If not, we're going to iterate through the DB name property of the DD tables. That's because the title property of a database, at least when it has a mention, is actually an array. So we're going to look for the individual mention, and from that we're going to extract what is the ID of the database that is being mentioned. And then we're going to save it into a variable and also save it back to the DD tables. In case we already know the database ID, such as when we're doing updates, we're just going to look up the database ID and save it in that same variable. In the final pathway, we actually fetch the value of the database ID from the internal variable. What this does is allows us to work with the database ID in a variable regardless of whether this was the first time we saw it or whether we already know what it is. So now we know the database ID. We're going to grab and save the current timestamp in a second variable. Next, we're going to do a deep dive into the individual database that we're interested in, and we're going to iterate through each of the properties in our database. For each of the properties, we're going to search our DD properties table to see, do we know about this property already? If we don't know about it, we're going to create a new record for that database property, and if we do, we're just going to update it. Inside of the DD properties table, we're storing the ID of the database so that it doesn't matter if the database name changes. And we also save the ID of the individual property. Notion does not make this available to us with the user interface, but it is available on the API. So with both the ID of the property and the ID of the database, that's how we can recognize new versus updated properties. Also, in each DD property record, we're saving two timestamps. The first timestamp is when we started our scan of the database, which we got over here, and the second timestamp is right now when we are inspecting that individual property. We do that so that we can identify properties that are older than the most recent table scan, because that indicates that the property was most likely deleted from the underlying database. Once the entire process is complete, we would end up going back here to this branch where we give the response to the webhook. More than likely, you'll be able to run this entire process on the free version of Make because we're not doing any polling. We only execute these actions within Make in response to a webhook, and the total operation load is twice the number of active tables plus twice the number of properties in those tables. The count isn't exact, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb. If you found this valuable, you can see my portfolio of other Notion projects at PrimaryGoals.com/Notion. which includes full details on the Clockify to Notion project, which we worked with in this video, and also how to do two-way synchronization between Notion tables so that you can get around the Achilles heel of permissions and give access to selected portions of your data to external consultants or individuals. Enjoy!